Welcome back to Space Coast Daily TV. Juan Rodriguez here, and today we're joined by a special guest. We're going to talk some NIL and some high school football. We're joined today by Heritage Panthers head football coach Mykel Benson. Coach, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. I appreciate you giving me a few minutes of your time. Before we dive deep into the NIL stuff, just tell us a little bit about last season.
Last season was it was special, especially because it was my first year as a head coach. I thought we had the team that to go a little bit deeper in the playoffs, but things happen. And it was a learning experience for me. It was a learning experience for the whole coaching staff. But it was a good feeling to let those seniors out on a good way and getting those young guys ready for this year coming up. Because a lot of those young guys played for us last year, even though we had 26 seniors, we still had a lot of those young kids starting for us or getting a lot of playing time towards the end of the season for sure.
Yeah, talk a little bit about your first year as head coach, being, the head guy on campus when it comes to the football program and being able to take control of a program and have it, built the way you envision it. Just tell us a little bit about what that was like and what it's like going to your second year, kind of getting that first year out the way.
First year was actually kind of not as hectic as I thought it was. Actually, I have Coach Ainsley. He's my defensive coordinator. He was the head coach for the last 10 years there at Heritage, at Heritage, and he helped me a lot. It was great to have him on staff and still have on staff. So he did a lot for me, helped me out, suggested things how he did it, and then if I didn't like it, I did it another way, or I just tweaked it a little bit. But it was good to have a good structure because the program wasn't bad, and it was a well disciplined program, and it was easy to take over. So I tweaked the little things, and kind of put my little touch on it as well. But I think last year was a great start for me. And I've been in programs where you have to start it all over. I've been with Brooksfield with Chris Sands when he started his first coaching experience. We started that program and we took it and we changed it around. And Bayside, the same thing. I've been in those programs where you have to start from the bottom, and it was great to start in that middle ground and try to keep it going. This year, we're just trying to, keep it going and letting these young kids that are coming in understanding the culture and what we're about.
Absolutely, and it's definitely working. You guys, as we mentioned, went 9-2 overall last season, district champs, and then you guys also had 11 players sign on signing day. I mean, it looks like you're really turning around that program, to say the least. Just tell us a little bit about what's the spring been like, and of course, heading into the summer, what have practices and training and all that been like?
Spring was actually very good for us, man, and we took those 15 days that we had and really sat back and took our time and really evaluate these kids and really went back to the basics, and teaching the fundamentals and understanding how we want them to play and how fast we want them to play and understanding the game. We try to break the game down and so they can understand why we do what we do, so they can play fast, and that's the biggest thing for us as coaches. We want those guys to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it, and we had a lot of time to do that. Through 15 days don't sound like a lot, but it's a lot. You get a lot of reps in, you get a lot of teaching moments in for those guys, and it was a great spring.
Coach, let's just get right into the big topic. Earlier this week, NIL was approved for high school athletes here in Florida. Just, I guess, initial thoughts. Just when you heard the news, what were your reactions?
Man, I knew it was coming, and first and foremost, kudos to the kids. Great for the kids. And in all seriousness, it's going to help these kids in the long run, for the simple fact of social media. A lot of these kids use their social media the wrong way, and now they're going to have to use it the right way, just for the simple fact of that's how you're going to get your NIL deals. And if you're not using it right, posting the wrong things, and you're not going to get nothing, whether it's a sponsorship with clothing, whether it's cash, because that's the first thing a company is going to do. They're going to go check your social media and see what you're posting and what you're not, and what's on there and how much you're posting. So if you're not, one of those kids that will post and take your stuff down, and it's a lot of I think coaches kind of got like, I don't know. I know me. I was just like, well, the first kid is going to make more than me, then that's going to be a problem. Which is going to be a problem, but at the same time, it's going to take a while for it to happen for those kids to get those big deals. Um, and when that happens, and if they haven't changed it by then, it's going to be a problem for Florida as far as good coaches staying in here. And it's in um, you can see in Georgia and Texas, everybody's fine and happy is for coaches because they're getting compensated for what they're doing. But for the kids, it's a great opportunity, to get in another world and starting a business. And there's so many avenues to it where kids need to do the research, parents need to do the research. I know I'm doing it as a parent and a coach. I have a 12-year-old that is, that's pretty athletic. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to sit here and go through it as well. So I'm trying to educate myself as well. So I've been on the phone. I've been talking to people. I've been reading up on it a little bit. So it's an exciting time, but hopefully Florida gets it right for these coaches, and we'll get it going. It'll be a happy medium all around if they get it right.
Absolutely. And it's definitely interesting. We're definitely in the infancy stages, at least here in the state of Florida. And everyone's gonna definitely be keeping an eye on us because it's no secret. Florida is a hotbed of talent when it comes to football here. So
Yeah.
with the research you've done and things of that nature, people obviously want to know, well, where is most of the money going to be coming from? Who are the businesses and things of that nature that are going to approach these kids with NIL deals? And I've talked to a few coaches and things of that nature. They're saying a lot of small local businesses could be the type of businesses to target some of these kids with deals. What are your thoughts on that? And um, you know, a lot of people think that these kids are all going to be making a bunch of money, when in reality, it's only a few that are marketable, that are businesses really want to put their brand out and think that they'll get some kind of return back. Just kind of touch on that and your thoughts on what businesses will approach these kids.
I think the local businesses will uh, they will get a lot of the kids, but and like I said earlier, like a lot of that stuff is gonna be it won't be cash. It will be like, hey, you can come eat at my restaurant 2 times a week, but you got to make sure you're posting on your
Hmm.
social media. This is where you at. And again, that goes with their social media followers. And like, you have to have some type of social media presence online to get those NIL deals. So a business is not going to go reach out to a kid that have 50 followers. Like, what's the point for them to do it?
Yeah.
There's no point in doing it. And I think like I said, it get these kids into a way to get into social media the right way, because there's a lot of avenues for it. Now, there's going to be those kids out there that are 4 or 5 star that are going to get those big deals. And because of where they're going to be going, what's going to be happening with, when they get recruited, it's just a lot, with those, especially with those 4 or 5 stars kids. And I think even with them, I think it's going to start out with like apparel,
Mm.
like I wear, say if I'm wearing a visor or whatever, I get free visors, I get free tint on the visors, whatever. That's going to be a part of the NIL. That's one of those collective things. It's not always going to be cash. Like I talked to, I know the owner for Phenom Elite. I don't know if you heard of them. They make
Mhm.
gloves and all that.
Yep.
He actually started his business with the AFL. Well, not with the AFL, but that's kind of how he got kicked off. He made the jerseys for the AFL when I was playing, and now they're blown up. And so I talked to him last night, and I asked him how the NIL is going to do or work for him. And he was like, now they're switching it over to just apparel. So they're not paying people. They're going to do
Mm.
apparel deals, so like, hey, you wear these gloves, I give you a swag bag, whatever. And now you got to post every time you wear it, or anytime you got to post 4 times a week for me. Those are the
So
type of deals I think those are the type of deals that kids are going to start off with. Now, the money ones, you're going to have to work for them. Those parents are going to have to work for those. You know what I mean? And those money ones come from having
Taken.
thousands of followers. You know what I mean? And um, I think that's where it's going to end up happening. But like I said, it's going to grow. It's going to grow for
Yeah.
sure. So
Like you said, it's going to grow. We're just in the beginning. And a lot of people, they hear NIL, they hear athletes getting paid, and they want to think of college football and, oh, how this could ruin the sport and things of that nature. But I think it's important that people understand that the kids, like you said, are going to have to work for these massive deals, and it's just not
Absolutely.
everyone. I mean, we're talking about businesses that want to see return, and it kind of forces kids to, like you said, pick up on social media and utilize it in the most they can. And then also in the classroom, they're gonna have to pay attention to marketing skills, business skills, things like that. So maybe they'll pick up some extra classes and things of that
Yep.
nature. So,
Yep.
I guess you can next question. What are some pros and cons you see out of this being approved?
Um, the pros, I think that when I think of the pros, like I said earlier, I think there's a lot of opportunity for kids to go into with the NIL deals as far as marketing themselves, even if they don't even think they're going to play, to the next level. I think there's the avenue of starting a business, a social media business. A lot of these kids are starting to get into doing highlight reels for people, and I think that's going to be a part of. You're going to need somebody who's going to follow you around and post,
Yep.
and those are things that I'm thinking of. Like if I was in it, I'm going to go hire somebody. Like, hey man, I see if I can get you a new phone or whatever, and I will, you follow me around, and when I start kicking off, I get you something. Those are the things that I'm thinking about. I think there's opportunities for kids to start businesses and starting off from the right way, and not even just not negotiating deals. It's more so of how can I get deals, or how can I get followers, how can I do all that. The cons, I think the cons is it's pretty simple. I mean, the cons right now is that potentially, there's kids out there that will make more than coaches, and I think that's a big con right now. I my fear is now that some of these kids are so disrespectful at times. They might feel certain type of way, like if they're making good money or whatever. But that all goes into character, and hopefully those kids are not getting those NIL deals, because hopefully the business will do their due diligence and dive into it, and figure out what type of kid this is, what type of household he's coming from, to if the parents are involved, or those are the things that I don't think parents are even looking at as well. Like they're going to do some diving just like colleges do. The first thing they are asking us, how's his home life? You know what I mean? And that all goes back to being respectful and all that stuff. So there's a lot of pros in it. It's not many cons. The cons is, I think, with Florida, because of the transferring, that is a con. That is a big con. Like Georgia, Texas, you cannot transfer. You know what I mean? You can't transfer. And the only way you
Well,
play at
once you sign a deal, or just in general, you
No,
can't.
just in general, the only way you can transfer it to another school in Georgia is you got to move in that area.
Mm.
So, that cuts out I'm going to this school because they got $5,000 for me.
So
Or,
I believe, is it true that, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Is it true that Florida is pretty much the most wide open transfer
oh,
state when it
absolutely.
comes to high school football?
Absolutely. This is a Wild Wild West type deal. Like you don't know what you have on your roster until the first day of school. When
Yeah.
they walk on you walk on campus, that's you're gonna have to do what you got, on the first day of school. That even with me, I don't I believe my kids are bought in, and they're there, but it only takes one. It only
Yeah.
takes one person to be like, I think I'm gonna go over there because of opportunity. You know what I mean? Or now with the NILs, it's like, of course they're not supposed to be recruiting, but it's gonna happen. That I think that's where they should have they should have did something with the transferring. And it hurts a lot of schools around here. It hurts everybody, to be honest. And you almost have to adapt to it. um it is what it is. These kids are going to do whatever they want, as long as they got their freedom to it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go on with this. As you said, the whole transferring situation and things like that. They're definitely going to be keeping a close eye on that. And when it comes to the involvement, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the kids are pretty much on their own when it comes to the NIL deals.
Yeah.
Schools, boosters, coaches cannot have any involvement at all. And the violations are pretty strict. I believe Your first warning is a pretty straightforward, strict warning. And second, you can be, I believe, suspended from all high school sports for the entire year. And third
Mhm.
strike, I believe you're pretty much done with
Yeah.
any high school sports.
Yeah, I think the rules are good, but I think still with the transfer, man, it's
So talk
it
about that a
leaves.
little bit. Is it like, if these kids get an NIL deal, or will they be transferring more now because of potential NIL deals? What do you
Absolutely.
see
Like
a problem
here's a
with the?
here's a big thing for me. I think you look at, I know Teddy Bridgewater put something out on Twitter the other day. He's talking about don't look at his pockets. He's not giving out nothing. Of course, he's not going to give out nothing, but it's Teddy Bridgewater. So you don't think that businesses are going to be looking at that school because of Teddy Bridgewater? So anybody that is at Northwestern, they're going to have deals lined up just because off the name of who's the coach,
Yep.
and I think that's where, like, oh well, I'm gonna go to Northwestern, especially if I'm a 3 to 4 or 5 star. I'm going there so I can go get a deal, or he's going to know somebody that has a business, or he's going to know somebody that has a little circle of businesses that are willing to do something, and I think that's where it gets a little unfair, because things like that. And then you got schools down south that got money. You got private schools that got way more money and sponsors than public schools. And then that's just in our county and in every county. The private schools are going to win because of their sponsorships, their booster, even though they're not allowed to do it. But hey, that business, over there, go talk to them. It's
Yeah.
one of those things. They're not going to be able to control it. Yes, the school cannot give them money, but I'm pretty sure there's a way they can be like, hey, this business wants to reach out, or this
Yep.
business wants to talk, or the business are going to go talk to you, and say, hey, we want to do a deal with you or whatever. And that's where I think, because you got businesses out there for private school donating 50,000, $1,000 to a private school, but we don't get that in public schools, and especially in our area, we're so many schools, it's so watered down. Everybody's in one little area, so they can't give out so much money like that. And I think that's where it hurts for fundraising for us.
All right, coach. Well, great stuff. Let's just kind of, if you'd have to give a little outlook, maybe look into your crystal ball of what it would be like for the next 3, 5 years with this NIL. Just kind of your opinion. I know we're in the infancy stages, but just like a little bold prediction of how you see this all playing out.
I think eventually it's going to be a good deal. I think a lot of kids are going to benefit off of it. Um, it might be a little bit of a mess in the first couple of years, especially here in Florida, just because it's a wild, wild west. Um, but I think eventually they'll get it right, and I hope they get it right, because the kids deserve it. Um, and once they do, it should start rolling. Like, because if you look at it in Georgia and Texas, like, not everybody's not getting paid in those states. But there are kids out there that are getting good money, and getting good deals. And sometimes the deals don't need to be money. It just need to be, like, I had a conversation with one of my players. We've been talking about it, like, hey, it's hard for us to, they always asking for apparel and stuff. It's like sometimes it's hard for us to even buy stuff like that because we don't have, the funds to do it. Um, look into an NIL deal to fund us some apparel.
Look good, play good.
Yep.
That's what it's about. So I appreciate a few minutes of your time, coach. Before we let you go, just some players to look out for. What are some goals this season? Obviously, aside from winning state, what are some other goals for you and the Panthers this upcoming season? Some players to maybe keep an eye on.
We have this thing here at Heritage. Winning district is the standard, so that's first thing first.
Yep.
We want to make sure we secure that. We have a very tough schedule this year, which is going to prepare us for the gauntlet we have to go through for the playoffs. And for the future, we come out of the regular season with a good record. We're going to go deep in playoffs. I mean, we got to go through St. Thomas Aquinas, but that is I don't want to jump too far there, but that's what we're preparing for. To be honest, that's where we got to go through just to get to state. So that's the reason why our schedule is the way it is, so we can prepare for the playoffs. And I expect to do what we need to do to win our district. We got some really young guys that are very, very talented. We got Demetrius Samuel Jr., obviously 4-star kid, rated top ESPN 300. He's going to be a big help to us. Obviously, we got our O-line is actually fairly a veteran crew. So that's a big, big plus for us as well. Got some wide receivers out there, IJ Cordero, TJ Monroe, and then we got, our quarterbacks. They're here. They're going to be battling it out. Of course, we got the transfer from Vero. We still got Mikey Rogers. So they're going to be battling it out for the spot. Man, we just got some young kids that they're going to surprise a lot of kids, a lot of coaches, and a lot of teams this year. So I'm excited, because we got some years with these kids. So that's what I like.
Absolutely. I'm excited as well. You take a look at this upcoming schedule: kickoff classic against Rockledge. Then you got week 1 against your rival Palm Bay Pirates. Then you keep looking down O'Galley. And then, of course, you guys got Coco, the defending back-to-back state champs. Any matchups you're really looking forward to here to try to get your team to, as you said, prepare for that potential St. Thomas and the playoff gauntlet that you guys have down the season?
Man, our 1 through our 1 through 5, to be honest, man, from the kickoff classic all the way up to really our whole schedule is a
Yeah, I mean,
gauntlet.
you got
I mean,
Seminole, Galley, Vero Beach, all these
right.
guys. So
You got to look at how far these teams went last year and how good and how well coached they are. And the biggest one I'm looking for is to week 2 and week 3. Well, week 2, 3, and 4. Really, I'm looking for all of them, but week 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those are what I'm excited for, especially the Vero one, just because I haven't got over that hump yet with Vero, so I would love to get over that hump with them, which they're a very well coached team with Coach Jank down there. And then of course, Coco is start that little rivalry going. It'll be good to have. So we expect to give everybody a run and more, and sit back and enjoy the ride. To be honest, because it's gonna be some eye openers for a lot of people.
we'll definitely be watching, and we'll be excited to broadcast some of your games this upcoming season. But Coach, any final words before we let you go? It's been a pleasure having you on, and we really appreciate a few minutes of your time.
No, I'm good. I appreciate you having me on as well. Anytime we want to do this, I'm always available. We could do it.
Absolutely, man. Well, Coach Benson, best of luck this year and have a good summer. And we really appreciate you once again.
All right.